What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to open 3 envelopes that I just recently got back. I got a pretty good idea who one of them is because of where it's postmarked from, and I was a little worried about getting it back, to be honest with you, because the gentleman that I wrote actually just accepted a job about a month ago, well, a little more than a month ago, to coach again. So after I sent these and I heard that news, I was like, oh boy, I hope I get those back. So we're going to open up 3 of them. I will start with the first one, postmarked from Austin, Texas. And I was super happy to get these back because this individual just accepted in November the head coaching job with the University of North Carolina. And that is Mr. Mack Brown on 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, if you don't know who Mack Brown is, he is the former coach of the Texas Longhorns, the University of Texas at Austin. He has won national champions with the Longhorns in 2005, as you can see from those 2 cards there. However, before he coached the Texas Longhorns, he was actually the coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. After he left the Tar Heels, he went to Texas. And after now that he left Texas, he is now returning to North Carolina to coach in the 2019 season, as it was announced. So I sent these cards to the University of Texas. He was no longer coaching there, but he was still working there in some capacity. I'm not really sure how, maybe with the football program in some way or the athletic department. So as you saw in my previous video, my Tearing Packs episode, I opened a box of these, and I decided to send, each card out of that set to him, and he inscribed each card "Hook 'em," the old saying from the Longhorns, Mack Brown. This one he signed, in a pretty good spot down there in the corner, and he wrote "Hook 'em" on that side. I think that's what he wrote. Yeah, that's what it says, "Hook 'em." Then he also did "Hook 'em" on his individual card. And this one, I'm not complaining too much, but he wrote "Hook 'em" and he signed next to Vince Young. Now, the idea of the dual card is you can try to get both guys to sign it, but he kind of took up space on his signature line and Vince Young. So I don't know if I'm ever going to see Vince Young, but I guess I'll have him sign the back if I do, or I guess he can sign up here somewhere. But I kind of wasn't expecting Mac to sign that, but you know what? I'm not going to complain. Now, even better, I have the triple player card, and this has Vince Young, Jamal Charles, and Mac on there, and he literally signed in every spot on the card. "Hook 'em, Mack Brown." Now the nice thing is this is probably the nicest autograph on these 2 cards that he gave me, but it's just a little frustrating. If I ever see either of the other 2 guys, I won't be able to get them to sign the card unless I get a little creative and have them squeeze it in the corner or whatever. But hey, nonetheless, I'm happy. Legendary coach, College Football Hall of Famer. He got elected, I believe, this year into the College Football Hall of Fame. So, Mr. Brown, thank you very much. Again, I sent these care of the University of Texas. If you see my video, I would not recommend sending those. I would try to figure out the address for University of North Carolina football to send to, because if you send them to the University of Texas, you'll probably get them sent back or you may not see them again. So, thank you, Mr. Brown. Very happy to get this back. Now, sticking to the theme, I think this is a football success as well. And it is indeed former Heisman Trophy winner Desmond Howard on 1. And 2. I think I stuck a 3rd card in there and he did not return it, which is totally fine. But I'm happy to get those two back, that's for sure. But this is former Heisman Trophy winner, 1991 Heisman Trophy winner of the University of Michigan, Desmond Howard. And Desmond Howard also was Super Bowl MVP of Super Bowl 31 with the Green Bay Packers. His only season, oh no, he played 2 years with Green Bay. But the cool thing about, little trivia question here, Desmond Howard is the only special teams player to ever win the Super Bowl MVP. Did you know? He is a phenomenal athlete. He was a great football player for a very long time. I believe he is in the College Football Hall of Fame. Yes. He's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he is in the College Football Hall of Fame. And that was in 2011. He was drafted, I'm going to say, number 4 overall. Yeah. In the 92 draft by the Redskins. He played roughly about 10, 11 seasons in the NFL. Primarily, he was a wide receiver and punt returner, kick returner. But he was a return specialist, to say the least, in the NFL. But Heisman Trophy winner, Desmond Howard. Thank you very much. Now, to keep on the Heisman Trophy track, get those off the screen. This one is postmarked from Tallahassee, Florida. And if I am correct, because I sent this out at the same time, and it indeed is another Heisman Trophy winner, Mr. Charlie Ward, on 1, 2, 3. A little blurry there. Come on. And 4 on a basketball card. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward was a phenomenal athlete. He was at Florida State. He took them to 4 bowl games consecutively. Let me pull up which ones in what order. I just want to get my facts straight. So we're going to talk about his college football career, then we're going to talk about his NBA career after that. He went to... Okay, so they were in the Fiesta Bowl in 1990, the Cotton Bowl in 92, the Orange Bowl in 93, and the Orange Bowl in 94 that he played on. He won the Heisman Trophy in 1993 for the Florida State Seminoles, and he never did get drafted in the NFL, surprisingly. He is one of very few, he might be the only one actually, to not be drafted by the NFL. So, part of the reason may be that he didn't get drafted was because he was drafted 26th overall by the New York Knicks in the 1994 draft. And the 1994 draft, also featured, Jason Kidd, Glenn Big Dog Robinson, Grant Hill, to name a few, Juwan Howard, a pretty good draft class. Those guys were all pretty good ball players, back in their day. But Charlie never played professional football, surprisingly, and he stuck to his NBA career. And he actually played, looks like about 11 seasons in the NBA, primarily with the New York Knicks. He was on the San Antonio Spurs in 2004, and he finished his career with the Houston Rockets in 2004 and 2005. Ironically, I actually have an autographed San Antonio Spurs hat with Charlie Ward's autograph on it. So that was pretty cool that Charlie Ward was on that 2004 San Antonio Spurs team. Now, another cool thing about Charlie Ward, to tell you how awesome of an athlete this guy was, okay? Not just on the football field, not just on the basketball field, but it also, he was drafted, despite never playing at all in college for Florida State. He was drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers in the 93 draft, and he was also drafted by the Yankees in the 94 draft. So, he played high school baseball, but he never played college baseball at all. And despite those things, those two organizations still drafted him, and obviously he didn't go on to sign with them. It also says that he also was in the Arthur Ashe Amateur Tennis Tournament in 1994 as well, because he was a good tennis player. Never played professionally, but he at least was in that tournament. So I just want to say how amazing of an athlete that this gentleman was. He could do so many things with so many different types of sports. I mean, this is wonderful to think that this individual accomplished so much in so many sports. I mean, this is pretty much the modern day Jim Thorpe, if you want to think about it. And Jim Thorpe was such a great athlete, that he never the Olympics were where he shined the most, but Jim Thorpe played multiple sports, not just he was not just an Olympic athlete. Where Charlie Ward was the same way. I mean, imagine having somebody like this play today. I mean, I know there's been people that play both sports. I mean, there's the kid Murray that plays football and was drafted by the A's, but I mean, he played basketball, he played football collegiately, he could have played baseball amateurly if he wanted to and professionally, I'm sure, and he played tennis. I mean, that just tells you how great of an athlete this guy was. So I've been going a little bit long on this video, so I'm going to wrap this one up. And, I want to thank you for, spending the time and checking out these two Heisman Trophy winners. I really love these All-American cards that both of them signed for me. Those are really cool, cards to get signed in design of the old school football cards from back in the 50s. But thank you, Mr. Howard, Mr. Ward, and Mr. Mack for signing all those. And thank you for joining me for another episode of Through the Mail Thursdays. I look forward to your comments below.